Thank you for joining us on the news. I'm Ruth Aguwele. My sign language interpreter is Anna Olainka. We'll begin with the headlines. Federal government to exploit $7 trillion global halal market for the good of Nigerians. EFCC says former Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello is not in its custody. Plus, to evolve constant power supply, federal government deploys SCADA system to tackle national grid collapse. The federal government has launched a comprehensive strategy tagged Exploit the $7 trillion global halal market, aiming at positioning the country as a leading player in the halal economy. Vice President Kashim Shettima at an event in Abuja said the project is part of initiatives to diversify the economy with a view to capitalizing on Nigeria's position as the 8th largest domestic halal economy in the world. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports.
Nigeria's economic and demographic size gives us a unique advantage in developing a vibrant halal investment sector.
Build a vibrant halal economy. Unlocking Nigeria's potential is the theme of this stakeholders' engagement to build a collaborative framework that will create opportunities for economic diversification, job creation, and export expansion.
For Nigeria to become a hub of opportunities in the global halal economy, we must prioritize our strengths and reassess our weaknesses. Today's engagement provides a platform for us to collaborate with key international organizations. This will allow us to develop a comprehensive halal ecosystem and agree on strategies that will position Nigeria as a top halal exporter, targeting high value market.
Through partnerships with key stakeholders, both domestic and international, we are determined to position Nigeria as a leader in the halal economy.
The halal sector can also play a crucial role in resolving the farmer hunger crisis by promoting ethical farming practices and ensuring that we use advanced technologies to improve agricultural yields.
Exploring investment opportunities, promoting technology adoption, and expansion of regional trade, taking advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Area. These stakeholders say will ensure Nigeria's competitiveness in regional and global markets.
The agriculture and food industry is a major component of this growth, driven by the high demand for halal certified food products amongst Nigeria's large Muslim population.
Solving problems, we need to diversify, leave our comfort zone, look at other opportunities that we can rely on and address our challenges.
By increasing halal exports and focusing on strategic import substitution, Nigeria is projected to have an addition of nearly $1.2 billion to the country's GDP by 2027. From the State House, Abraham Jibrila, NTA News.
To reverse the trend of, we'll take that just after this one. Vice President Kashim Shettima has urged ministries, departments and agencies of government to actualize the agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu across different sectors by working together. The advice was given after the National Council on Privatization meeting chaired by the Vice President and recommendations ratified at the 2021 and 2022 audit financial reports of the Bureau of Public Enterprises. The Council also approved the progress made so far by the BPE in the implementation of its 2024 work plan aimed at strengthening its operations. The Council directed the BPE to further engage with the relevant parties in the resolution of the dispute in the sale of the Sapele 2 and the sale of coal blocks belonging to the Nigerian Coal Corporation. The Vice President commended the new management of the BPE for its diligence and renewed vision, urging stakeholders to support the realization of the Bureau's set objectives. He particularly commended the agency for its close supervision and conclusion of the Zungeru hydroelectric power plant concession, as well as efforts to establish an independent system operator. Vice President Shatima further tasked the agency to work with the various committees of the NCP and the Ministry of Justice and come up with a robust roadmap to expedite the completion of outstanding transactions in the interest of the nation. Presenting a progress report on the 2024 work plan of the BPE, the Director General, Ayodeji Belei, reported that the Bureau generated the sum of 93.47 billion naira in the first and second quarters of the year 2024 from 3 transactions, representing 35.9% of the expected revenues during the period under review. Now let's talk that health report. To reverse the trend of medical tourism in Nigeria, key players in the health sector are gathering in Abuja to address the challenges facing the country's healthcare system and showcase services available in the country. Uche Ugochukwu reports that the summit is at the instance of AfriHealth Development Foundation.
Inadequate funding, poor infrastructure and a brain drain of medical professionals have been the challenges of Nigeria's health sector, resulting in a significant number of Nigerians seeking medical attention abroad. This cost the country billions of naira, and the situation is what these stakeholders are set to reverse.
One thing that is very important in unlocking the healthcare value chain is the entrepreneurship aspect. If people are leaving the country to other countries to access healthcare, then we are not getting it.
I believe that there are, as much as we have a lot of challenges, there are a lot of opportunities that we can customize with the challenges that we have.
The summit, therefore, provides a platform for them to showcase their services and discuss strategies for unlocking the healthcare value chain in order to improve quality of care and retain medical professionals in the country.
We need to support our own healthcare system, create awareness, make a propaganda of the beautiful and amazing things happening in the Nigerian healthcare system.
Those who want to start manufacturing in Nigeria can discuss with such companies on a way of either a direct importation or sharing production, as has been done in many newly industrialized countries.
Looking at 2030, one of the things that we all recognize that a number of countries are way behind the targets that have been set. And to achieve this, it's important that all come together.
With the theme, Unlocking Healthcare Value Chain to Reverse Medical Tourism in Nigeria, the summit is expected to produce actionable recommendations for all concerned to make healthcare more interesting to the populace. Uche Ugochukwu, NTA News.
Let's look at climate action issues. The prevailing food crisis may worsen if stakeholders do not speed up climate change response, especially as it affects agriculture. Well, this was the major highlight of the 2024 NOI polls on climate change and impacts presented by stakeholders, to stakeholders in Abuja. Kelvin Ehonwahe reports.
Climatic conditions is about the most important element in food production and agriculture generally. With the current flooding and drought impacting the ability of farmers to sustain efficient agricultural activities, the NOI post indicates that government and players in the climate change space need to adopt technology and community-based strategies to mitigate the challenge to lessen the burden on the environment and agriculture. While the polls show that many Nigerians are aware of climate change impact, they, however, want to see more action in combating it.
It's this symbiotic relationship between man and environment. So we should have that consciousness in the way we relate with the environment. And also, there should be more proactive actions on our land use plan. Areas that have been demarcated as buffer zones for forests, for water bodies, we should keep them so.
The NOI Pulse is a periodic endeavor that targets specific sectors of national life, identify challenges and prefer solutions through surveys and interaction with Nigerians in a bid to assisting policymakers in decision-making. In Abuja, Kelvin Ehonwahe, NTA News.
Well, the rainy season is a period of blessing, bringing down a liquid that sustains all life. But the season also has its own negative side, especially if it is accompanied by storms and flooding. This year, floods in Nigeria have been having a negative impact on the social and economic well-being of the people. In this report, Musa Baba Aliyu takes a look at the impact of the natural disaster on food security.
This is what 1 hectare of land looks like. It is the size of a football pitch. And an average farmer who plants maize on 1 hectare gets at least 27 bags. And if it is rice, he will get at least 30 bags. And this year, more than 127,000 hectares of farmlands were washed away or damaged as a result of flood. This will give you an idea of quantity of food that farmers lost this year as a result of flood.
The time that the maize was about to be harvested, then this flood just came. So water submerged all the farms, which now affected the yield that we are expecting to get from these farms.
In Borno State alone, it has been estimated that more than 5,000 hectares of unharvested farms were washed away by floods. Farmers claim that the destruction will have a negative impact on farmers' output this year. Agriculturists stress the need for farmers to insure their farms against natural disasters such as floods.
Agriculture is very volatile, so we must be able to mitigate against this risk so that our farmers can be well protected against circumstances that are beyond their control, which are the natural factors that affect their production and across the value chain.
The Nigerian Hydrological Services has again alerted riverine communities about the possible overflow of the River Niger and that of Benue. An investigation reveals that thousands of hectares of rice plantation along the rivers are yet to be harvested. Environmentalists are of the view that the impact of the 2024 flood is higher than what was recorded in 2022. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Well, as farmers count their losses, victims of the flood disaster in Borno have received relief materials from the National Emergency Management Agency as part of its intervention measures. Director General of the agency, Zubaida Umar, who personally presented the relief items, was assisted by Zainab Gimba, member, House of Representatives, representing Bama, Ngala, and Kalagbalike. Eliasu Yakubu will tell us more about that.
The distribution of relief items was categorized into two. It started with that of the elderly, who apart from receiving 25 kg bag of rice and a carton of spaghetti, they are also given already sewn clothes. This gesture, no doubt, brought smiles on the faces of the victims. They commended the federal government through NEMA for the consistent deployment of food and non-food items for their upkeep. NEMA's Director General Zubaida Umar said arrangements have been made to ensure equitable distribution of relief items to every victim. In order to prevent possible outbreak of epidemics owing to the flooded water, NEMA has stationed its water treatment van in strategic locations to provide treated water for the victims. Some of the victims say this initiative is commendable.
Hi, the water is so tasteless, odorless and colorless. It's sweet.
John Deere operates the water purification van.
So it does 3 levels of filtration, which is reverse osmosis. I think is the best presently now for water purification.
So how long does it take to get this kind of finished water?
If we set up in 1 hour, we can pump about 2,000 liters of water to drink.
Borno State Governor Professor Babagana Umar Zulum said all the 36 internally displaced persons camps will be collapsed in the next 2 weeks, believing that before then the flooded water would have completely receded. From Maiduguri, Ilyasu Yakubu, NTA News.
All right, let's take a break. We're back shortly. Stay tuned. Thank you for staying tuned. The National Emergency Management Agency has again released fresh updates on flood devastation and casualties in states and local government areas across the country. A statement issued on the 18th of September 2024 indicates that 1,092,317 persons have been affected, with 641,798 displaced from their homes, while 99,046 houses have been destroyed, with 285 deaths recorded. It further revealed that 2,504 injuries were sustained and 127,544 hectares of farmlands washed away, with 185 local government areas affected, while 31 states affected. In other news, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has detained, or rather denied, media reports, NTA not inclusive, that the former governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, honored its invitation. In a statement in Abuja, the commission pointed out that Bello was not in its custody. The commission declared the former Kogi governor, Yahaya Bello, wanted on 18th April 2024, following the failure of the defendant to appear in court for his arraignment and plea. Yahaya Bello is being alleged of 80.2 billion money laundering charge before a court of competent jurisdiction. The commission says Yahaya Bello remains wanted with a subsisting warrant for his arrest. All right, China has announced plans to invest $422 million in Morocco following the successful conclusion of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation Summit. The investment will revitalize the national textile sector and contribute to the government's strategy to boost employment.
The textile sector is considered a key pillar of Morocco's economy. Authorities in the kingdom said the deal, which was signed at the recent FOCOAC summit in Beijing, will revitalize the national textile sector by raising its performance and output. Morocco is actively encouraging foreign investment while offering incentives to attract investors.
This project will boost the Moroccan economy and allow the transfer of Chinese skills and technology to Morocco. It's part of a win-win policy between the Chinese economic power and its talents on the one hand, and Morocco's talents and technology on the other hand. This investment will deepen cooperation between China and Morocco.
The Chinese-Moroccan project is set to create 11,000 direct jobs in the North African country.
This Chinese investment will create 11,000 direct jobs in 3 years in different regions of Morocco. Huge industrial complexes will be created to accommodate the textile project with an entire modern value chain. Investing in the textile sector will have a positive impact on other Moroccan industries.
Morocco's central bank set a target and approved a series of measures 2 years ago to support the national textile industry. The Apex Bank emphasized the need to have a strong national textile industry as a backbone to stimulate investment.
Morocco's central bank governor said in 2022 that attracting foreign investment in the textile sector was a top priority. Morocco's textile industry's appeal is now attracting a third of the foreign investments to the country. The new Chinese investment will contribute to this achievement.
Experts say the $422 million investment by the Chinese textile giant will contribute to the long-term growth rate of Morocco's textile sector and other businesses.
Some women in Chile do not want to give up their freedom and well-being to become a mother, and this has led to reduced birth rates. In the past decade, births have fallen by 29% in Chile, and now it is the country with the lowest birth rate in the Americas. The Latin American nation is far from 2.1 needed to maintain its population, according to the National Statistics Institute. The women, in their opinion, said being a mother is an absolutely selfless task, as it reduces their freedom of traveling alone and being in charge of feeding and always prioritizing the well-being and care of a child over theirs. Declining birth rates are sparking alarm across the globe. especially in developed economies. Even Pope Francis has weighed in, suggesting couples who have pets instead of children are selfish and a threat to humanity. Chile's birth rate is below that of developed economies such as Italy, Japan, and Spain, according to UN Population Division. Chilean women have gained greater access to education, especially since universities became free in 2008 and joined the workforce in higher numbers. Turning our attention back home, Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, is assuring the international community that President Bola Tinubu, as a beneficiary of the media, has a strong commitment towards upholding and promoting press freedom under his watch. This was when the government's image maker received the ambassador of the United States to Nigeria, Richard Mills, in Abuja. Salihu Gwanara reports.
Outlined in the vision for the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation under the leadership of Mohammed Idris is, among others, a commitment to transparency in public communication and to build trust between the government and its citizens. In line with the quest for press freedom by his visitor, the U.S. Ambassador to Nigeria, Richard Mills, the minister assured of an enabling operating environment for the media in Nigeria through favorable policies.
And I wanted to talk more about how we could work together to strengthen freedom of the press here in Africa and around the world. And also how to fight disinformation, which is a problem many countries are facing, especially democracies. And the minister and I shared some thoughts and ideas on that. So that's why I'm here today with my team, and it was a very good discussion with the minister.
We are doing a great work to ensure that Nigerian press is not just free, but becomes one of the freest in the world. I know that there are some challenges here and there, but we are working on those areas to ensure that all of us enjoy what is called press freedom, which, by the way, is an important part of any viable democracy. He talked about misinformation, disinformation, fake news, and all that stuff, and we discussed about that. We all believe collectively that there's no way you can build a better society when you promote fake news and you don't take the issue of misinformation and disinformation seriously. We're giving him the Nigerian government's commitment to our commitment to press freedom, and we'll continue to work to ensure that the Nigerian press becomes even freer.
The current administration, he assured, will continue to promote press freedom and responsible journalism to foster unity and promote democracy in the continent. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara, NTA News.
There is end in sight to persistent and recurring cases of grid collapse, which often result to nationwide power outage, as federal government is deploying new technology, otherwise known as Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition (SCADA) system, to stabilize the grid. Joshua Ojito reports that the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, led industry players in the sector to witness testing of the technology at the new National Control Center, Gwagwalada, in Abuja. The project also covers construction of new National Control Center in Gwagwalada and upgrade of National Control Center, Oshogbo. Expected to be delivered in 2025, the SCADA system project is at 90% completion, and the facility inspection is to test run the system ahead of its inauguration.
To change the landscape of system operation in the NTAi by ensuring the following. Number one, operational efficiency, using state-of-the-art modern equipment to monitor and control the grid.
When completed, the SCADA system will enhance grid stability and minimize grid collapse. National Working Committee of Labour Party seems not disturbed by the decision of INEC not to recognize the Julius Abure-led executive, insisting that only the court can decide the authentic leadership of the party. National Publicity Secretary of the party in a media briefing insisted that all relevant sections of the Constitution, Electoral Act and the party constitution were followed in the conduct of the Nnewi Convention, which returned Julius Abure as national chairman. He described as a waste of time the caretaker committee set up by some stakeholders, including Peter Obi and Abia State Governor, as the party constitution does not have such provision.
I'm not saying that Abure and his executive members must remain in office ad infinitum. However, we would like to maintain it abundantly clear that this current National Working Committee is a product of a valid convention. It will take another convention in 2028 to enthrone a new executive. It is even surprising that some of the dramatist personnel who played key role in the success of the convention are now the ones leading the vanguard to exterminate the product of the convention.
Labour Party is a registered political party, and by the laws of Nigeria, it has perpetual succession. It has perpetual succession. So, in as much as those who call themselves their capital committee can never recognize, because they are not a man who over possible. The executive led by the Lord will remain in office. That is what the law says. Because this party has perpetual succession. That's the meaning.
All right, and just before we go, let's find out how Thursday's weather would look like. And that's the news. Thanks for your company. I'm Ruth Aguwele. My sign language interpreter is Anna Olanka. Bye.